Y'all help me out here. Is it just me? I've done a whole lot of these schedule previews here over the last 3 weeks or so. Doing another one today, Auburn, right now. Is it just me? It seems like there are a lot of really good non-con games this year. More than normal. Great ones that we don't get to see very often. I mean, we've already talked about Ohio State and Oregon, Michigan and Washington, Georgia and Clemson. I'm doing the Auburn preview today. It includes a trip to Penn State. Now, I guess what I'm asking is, does it just seem like it's more non-con games this year because we didn't have hardly any last year? I mean, Auburn's in the SEC. The SEC played a 10-game conference-only regular season. Some conferences played one non-con game. But all of the big non-con games we were hoping for last year all got canceled. So does it just seem like there's more than normal because we didn't have any last year? Or I don't know. Anyway, I guess I could babble some more, or we could do the Barner schedule preview. Yeah, let's do that. Hey, Barner man, check this guy out. He's a Texas Shorthorn fan. He's a Texas Longhorn fan. D4 Sports. You guys go sub to this guy up. This guy's been putting in serious work on YouTube here over the last couple of months. So I consider him a friend of mine. He was at the Slob Olympics back in March. A really nice guy, and he's really working hard over on his YouTube channel. He passed 1,000 subscribers already. He got there really, really quick, and he deserves it. Let's help him out some more. You guys go check him out. I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description of this video and in the pinned comment. Click on it, check it out, give the guy a subscription, and tell him Uncle Lou said good morning. Hey, good morning. It's Uncle Lou here. Yeah, that's right. It's me, Uncle Lou, live for you on LouTube today. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it also. And in addition to that as well, guess what? I post college football videos almost every single day of the year. And yes, some of them are watchable. Fact. This one, I don't know. These preview videos sometimes are only as good as the source material, and we're doing the barn today, and they're hot doo-doo confirmed. And wait till we look at this schedule. Wait till you see this schedule for 2021. First, let's take a brief look at the 2020 schedule, though. Normally, I do a big comparison between last year's schedule and the upcoming schedule, compare the non-con games for the 2 years, and compare the conference schedules, home games versus away games, and try to figure out, is this year's schedule a little harder or easier? Clearly, that's not an option this year because the schedules were so strange last year. Auburn, an SEC team, so they played 10 conference games. That was it. They went 6-4, right? Lost to Georgia and Alabama, lost to South Carolina, ended up losing the bowl game to Northwestern, the Citrus Bowl, finished up at 6-5, costing Gus Malzahn his job. Impossible to compare that to the 21 schedule where we're back to normal. But 2020, not a good year for the barn, unless you're one of the barners who's been looking to get rid of Gus Malzahn. And most of the barners that I know personally and here on YouTube, really, they were ready to see Gus go a couple of years ago. So I don't know very many people that are that are crying into the Fruit Loops about Gus Malzahn being fired at the barn. Most people are happy. They bring the coaches in to staff in from Boise State there. We'll see how it works out. But not a good year for Auburn in 2020. Let's take a look at the 2021 schedule and see if they can have a little bit better of a year. Here you go. Start things off, like I mentioned, non-con, back to a normal schedule this year in the SEC. So the SEC plays 8 conference games and 4 non-con games. And in the case of Auburn this year, they play 4 non-con games in a row to start the season, and then 8 conference games to finish it up. They start out at home with Akron. This is a good year to have one of these games up front, right? Some teams schedule big non-con games week 1, and as fans, we love to watch those games. Regardless of how you feel about teams scheduling down, whether you're a fan of it or whether you hate it, you have to admit, this is a good year for Auburn to do it. When you bring a new coaching staff in, there's always a lot of questions. No matter how high the expectations might be, until you see the team play under a new coaching staff, you really don't know what you're going to get. So this is a good year for Auburn to have this sort of a warm-up game. And you get another one week 2 at home against Alabama State. So unless things go drastically wrong, Auburn should start the season out 2-0. This isn't a prediction video. I do those starting in June. I'll give you an exact record for 50 or 60 teams and tell you who they're going to beat and who they're going to lose to. But, I mean, come on. At the very least, you have to admit Auburn to be big favorites in both of those games. Week 3, different story. And man, I'm excited for this game. I don't know if it's because of the whole COVID thing from last year and we had no non-con games, but it just seems like every team I do has one of these big non-con games on it this year. So I don't know if it really is more than normal or it just seems that way because we went an entire season without any of these games. But Auburn at Penn State. And let's give both these teams some credit for scheduling a home and home, too. I hate these neutral site games. I'm not a fan. I don't like Georgia, Florida, and Jacksonville. I don't like Texas, Oklahoma at the State Fair for no reason. I don't like all these kickoff classic games that people want to do in Atlanta and Charlotte, and Georgia's got one of those this year, too, with a Tater, man, Clemson. I have this strange idea. I know this is the weirdest thing you've ever heard, but Uncle Lou has this strange idea that college football games should be played on college campuses. Mind blown, I know, but that's just how I feel. So shout out to Auburn and Penn State. I'm assuming this is a home and home, so we'll get to see the back end of this down the road when Penn State travels down to Auburn. But this year, week 3 on the road at Penn State, not an easy game here for the Barn. And I know you're going to say, well, Penn State was terrible last year. They started 0-5. That's a fact. Penn State was not as bad as their record indicated last year. Now, you can list a million excuses of why: COVID, opt-outs, injuries, poor coach, whatever. Point is, they were not that bad. They were the LSU of the Big Ten last year, to be completely honest. We all laughed at LSU all season last year because they were terrible. LSU was not that bad of a team. They were hurt by graduation, NFL draft, and COVID opt-outs. LSU was not that bad. LSU will be way better this year than what their record was last year. So will Penn State. And even if you think Penn State was terrible last year, well, whippity-whip, so was the Barn. This will be a good game. Penn State may be a slight favorite since this game is being played there, but I expect this to be a pretty good game. Week 4, final non-con game of the year, Georgia State. This Georgia State. So that's a non-con, and then you kick things off, SEC schedule on the road at LSU. Well, you couldn't have drawn a tougher first SEC game, could you? Home field advantages are real in college football, and they're the most real in the SEC. And I don't know that there's a bigger home field advantage in the SEC than at LSU, particularly at night, which this game likely will be. This is a tough game here for Auburn. Like I said, I do not believe LSU is as bad as the team we watched last year. I expect huge improvements at LSU this year. Are they a national title team? No, probably not. But they're way better than what we saw last year from the Corn Dog. Auburn, that's your first SEC opponent on the road at LSU. Doesn't get any easier for you after that because you come back home and take on the Georgia Bulldogs. Yes, I'm a Georgia fan. That doesn't matter. I don't do the polls and the rankings. Georgia's a top 5 team. That's just a fact. They have owned you over the last 20 years. I mean, what are they? 15-5 against you in the last 20 games, something like that. It's just been it's been a lopsided series in Georgia's favor in the 21st century. Georgia really, really good. Consistency all over the place. Coaching staff, offense, everywhere. Auburn turning everything over. You got Bo Nix coming back, but he's a trash can with legs. So, this is just another tough game. Again, this is not a prediction video. I'll do those in June. But you'll be underdogs at LSU and home against Georgia. And then right after that, you go on the road and play Arkansas, and they're going to want to whip you. They're going to want to whip you. They beat you last year in every possible way except the final score. They were a better team. They looked like a better team. They played better. They were better coached. And they had that game basically won, and the referees gave it away to the Barn on a silver platter at the end of that game. One of the worst officiating decisions I have seen in college football in the last 5 or 10 years. Now, none of that matters. You were 6-4, not 5-5, and that's all anybody will remember. But the point is, Arkansas is going to want to win this game, and you got to travel there and play them. They're another team that I expect to be better this year than last year. Then you get a bye week, and you need it after that stretch of games. I mean, look at this. At Penn State, at LSU, home against Georgia, at Arkansas. Look at that. I mean, that's ridiculous. In a 5-week period, without a break, you play at Penn State, at LSU, at Arkansas, and sandwiched in the middle, a home game against Georgia, a top 5 team. That is a ridiculous stretch of games right there. I don't know how many of these videos have I done now, 15 or 16? This is the toughest first half of a schedule I have seen. I have not seen a team with a tougher first 5, 6, 7 games, whatever, than this. This is brutal. Then you get a bye week, comes at a great time. Come out of your bye week, home against Ole Miss. They're going to beat some people. They're going to beat some people. Lane Kiffin is too good of an offensive mind. That offense is too good. They are going to beat some people. Again, do I expect them to win the division? Probably not. But they are going to beat some people, and one of those people could be you. This will not be an easy game. At Texas A&M, top 10 team. A top 10 team. You travel there. Another place with a great home field advantage. Home against Mississippi State. Boy, you better win that one. You better win that one. On the road at South Carolina. Revenge game. They beat you last year. I think you'll be a favorite. They have a new coaching staff too. I do think Auburn are a much better team right now than South Carolina. And then last game of the season, yep, you get Alabama. Congratulations. That's your prize for making it to week 12. A beating at the hands of the Gump. This is the hardest schedule I've seen. This is the hardest, most difficult schedule I've seen in all of these preview videos that I've done. I'm not trolling or kidding. And I know that everybody in the SEC West plays everybody else in the SEC West, so every SEC West team has a tough schedule. This is the toughest. This is the toughest. When you look at where the road games are, when you look at groups of games bunched together that are difficult, tough games you have to play in a row. You draw Georgia from the East. This is a Penn State in the non-con. How many top 10 teams are on this schedule? Not Penn State, but maybe Penn State is top 20-ish, top 15-ish. But LSU top 10 or 15-ish, maybe. Georgia top 5. Ole Miss top 25. At Texas A&M, they're a top 10 team. Alabama, top 2. I mean, this is just absolutely brutal. Look at the road games. Look at this tough stretch. At Penn State, at LSU, at Arkansas, sandwiched in there is a home game against Georgia State and Georgia. Well, great. Maybe you go 1-4. I don't know. Listen, you could be 4-8. I mean, this is just being real. This is not a prediction video. Maybe you go 8-4. But this is a tough schedule. This is a tough schedule here. I don't know that I've seen a tougher schedule. If you know of a schedule that you think is tougher than this one, let me know what it is in the comments down below, because this is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. My God. Forget COVID opt-outs and players quitting. Auburn might just opt out of the entire season, maybe. I don't know. Have a good morning.